If I have a car now, I won't even stop until we get to UI. Oh.
lanes, or on highways such as the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, particularly when such roads are well paved. Violation of road traffic regulations and laws, for me, are as awful and as deplorable as physical conditions of the roads. I am of the opinion that respect for traffic laws and regulations, just as this is applicable to other aspects of the laws of the land, is as important as the conditions of the roads, if not more. Of importance among the factors considered in ranking a state as strong, weak, fragile, or failed is no doubt the condition of physical infrastructure, among which are roads. But the capacity of the state to make and implement policies and laws is by far ranked higher. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the factor of leadership is central to what Nigeria is and what the country ought to be. The leadership factor in the life of an organization or that of a country can hardly be overemphasized, and this fact has been stated by many, including Bon 1978, Achebe 1983, Hotri 2001, Sihula 2004, Okwade 2008, Yagbojagu 2013 and 2015, and Yagbojagu and Agbaji 2023. Achebe 1983 has been one of the most prominently cited works on leadership as a factor in the myriad of problems, including years of bloodshed, flagrant corruption, military rule, intertribal and intra-tribal conflicts, as well as political instability which confronted Nigeria from the country's immediate post-independence time until today. However, Yagbojagu 2015 calls for clarification, and I would like to do that again by asserting that heaping all the blames of leadership in Nigeria on one man or on the country's highest political leadership is faulty, especially in a civilian dispensation. It is important to bring into consideration the effects of leadership performance at subnational and other lower governmental levels, including the associational levels. For me, small things matter and big things just don't happen. They often get over time. Leadership is likely to be more effective and less problematic if leadership gets it right from the lower levels. My interest in the ecology of administration as a crucial factor in the performance of Nigeria is another point to note. Of the many historical, social, economic, and political factors that are important in the ecology of public administration in Nigeria, I've chosen the need for vigilance and background check for the purpose of employment for illustration. This is quite important, yet this has been abandoned long in the history of private and more important public service in Nigeria. I will use a very simple instance to drive home the point of the dangers associated with the abandonment of background check in the life of Nigerians and their country. I heard about the story of a man with a history of psychiatric problems who was employed by the Nigerian police and who started carrying arms in public less than a year after. My interest in the study of corruption as a phenomenon has produced journal articles and chapter contributions. Yagbojagu 2000, 2005, 2007, 2011, 2013, 2016, 2018, 2019, and 2022, and Yagbojagu and Oyewo 2023. The focus is mainly to correct the impression that corruption is all about bribery, extortion, and misappropriation of public funds. Loss of community values, favoritism, cronyism, connectocracy, and kingmakerism are other dimensions of corruption that have attracted my interest. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, there are communities where young stars, at least I know that of some areas in around about here, sometimes where secondary school students are celebrated for their achievements through internet fraud. There are student association elections where 38 voted and 42 ballots were counted at the end of the voting exercise. Maybe not in UI, but an election, association election that I observed. 38 voted, we counted 42 at the end of the exercise. And there are instances where ethno-religious considerations and not capacity necessarily dominated the selection of top management of universities. Achibe, 1983, Ereru, 1999, Odion Akin, 2000, and Obadari, 2023, have documented instances of crass nepotism and favoritism during students' admission exercises, promotions, and nominations for merit positions in universities. Poor work ethics, scant regards for dignity of labor, as well as sense of appropriateness are some of the dominant elements in the intellectual symmetries of today. The university, which in Nigeria has a mission to pursue the truths and liberating the mind, and therefore provide pathways and solutions, is, according to Adewale in 2016 and 2017, one of the two prominent elite institutions, the other being the civil service. This makes the university a place of comfort and hope. Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, this is hardly so with us. I know with the evidence that University of Ibadan, despite the existence of Obadam and several engineering departments, is badly affected by power outages and poor infrastructural maintenance culture, while food items are as expensive on campus as those found outside. The University of Ibadan has quite a number of departments in the Faculty of Agriculture. Food should be cheap here so that Nigeria can be big for something that is good. Also, there are security breaches from time to time. Put your mind at rest, your cars will not be stolen inside the University of Ibadan. But it was Shanu 2024 who wrote in the article, "Bad Birthday Gift I Received," about the theft of his car battery in front of a security post right here on campus, twice within 3 months. I leave the audience to decide whether the university is part of the problems of Nigeria or not. Focusing mainly on the human security dimensions and the broad area of security, Yagbojagu 2016B, 2022A, and 2023. Yagbojagu and Okosi Simbine 2020 have argued that security is crucial because every other thing is meaningless in the absence of security. Also, it has been argued that security is the business of everyone, including the family and community associations. However, the police has constitutional roles to play. The police is confronted by the problems of operational constraints, including inadequate funding and limited exposure. But there have been serious accusations of brutality, shoddy investigation and prosecution, as well as acts of sabotage against corrupt elements in the police. The case of DSP George Yamo, who connived with Lawrence Anini, the notorious armed robber, who terrorized Benin City and its environs in the 1980s, Mareni in 1987, is a point of for reference. There is also the serious matter of lack of exposure, in which, for example, policemen refer complainants to seek spiritualists for protection. At least a police station counter officer once advised me to, because the police also seek protection from spiritualists. Compared this to the inauguration of the Pope at St. Peter's Square, Vatican City in May 2025, where the organizers involved the police and anti-bomb units, leaving nothing to chance or solely in the hands of the prayer warriors. I know that the Pope is the greatest prayer warrior in the Catholic world, yet the organizers involved the police and anti-bomb units. Here in Nigeria, the police involved spiritualists. Rather than address the issue of dereliction of duty, the average Nigerian, including the police, heaps the blame on the country, Nigeria. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, the submission in Yagbojagu 2022A and 2023 draws strength from the opinion of Ortington 1962, Final 1975, Adekoye 1985, 1999, and 2022. My position is that the military is a noble profession, and according to prominent postulations in the civil-military relations, it plays modernization roles. However, the political harm of the military contributed in no small measure to the problems of governance in Nigeria. For instance, it destroyed the practice of federalism, starting from the foundation which was laid by Agui-Ironsin regime in 1966, when the military first tested blood and the fake transition programs, as well as the unconstitutional tenure elongation attempt by one of its representatives, even during civil rule. Issues in party politics, elections management, and regulation of political finance by INEC have attracted my research interest. Yagbojagu 2011, 2011A, 2012, 2020, and 2022. Yagbojagu and Simbini 2020, 2020A and 2020B. Jega 2015, Olurode 2017. Of importance are the findings that belly politics, or politics of stomach infrastructure, instead of programmatic politics, has gradually become part of the country's political culture. Also, my interest has been documented in the role of high election technology in Nigeria, especially since 2015, when a challenger defeated an incumbent president in a general election, and the sanitizing effects in the country's voters' register subsequently. Finally, my research interest in the activities of the civil service and the effects on the performance of Nigeria has been documented. Yagbojagu 2013, 2016, 2017, 2019, and 2021, and Yagbojagu and Uyo 2017. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, the civil service and the university, the elite institutions, have huge roles to play in resolving the predicaments confronting Nigeria today. The civil service houses all the ministries, departments, and agencies that straddle social, economic, and political life in Nigeria, while the university is the center of excellence and the solution provider to which societies revert even at the height of war. Ladipo Adewale once said that at the height of war, if two institutions, the university and the civil service, are still in good shape, there is hope for the country. My relationship with the community outside the university has been very fecund, and it has enhanced my God-given intellectual capacity. I've come to realize in my associational life and in the course of community services that members of community development associations, neighborhood associations, professional bodies, religious organizations, and even within extended family settings, sometimes breach trust by acting against the common good of such groups. Nigeria is partly what it is or what it is not because of the activities or idleness of such groups. This is because the group, as in group theory, is the crucial factor in politics. For me, Ede, Ibadan, Erin-Osun, Ado-Ekiti, and Yamuyi are communities that are related to with great affection. Ede is my place of origin, and it is one community that I love unconditionally. As a matter of fact, I prayed that Ede should be the capital of Osun State. And at least I observed a one-day fast when the state was created. Ibadan is my place of birth, and it is the place where I have proudly accepted to be called Magaji Road. I have been honored in Erin-Osun, Ado-Ekiti, and Yamuyi. I belong to them by extension. My associational life has also over the years been boosted by my relationship with Ede Baptist High School, Old Student Association, where I served as global president for 2 terms. Alumni associations of LASU, UNILAG, and UI, Alafia Crescent Resident Association, Ashibodija Ibadan, Kolapo Ishola GRE Resident Association, Akobo Ibadan, Journalist Estate, Phase 2, Arepo, Ogun State, Ikoyi Club 1938, Ikoyi Lagos Club 1938, another unique club which provided a platform for me to lead for 12 years. Finally, there are the Muslim Association of Nigeria, where I am privileged to be the president, Kibrama, Nigeria's Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Muswen, among other Muslim organizations, through which I endeavor to make Nigeria truly big for something. Takeaways and recommendations. Nigeria has been described as a crippled giant, or Sagai 1998, and it appears as big for nothing in that it has underperformed. But the country has performed poorly because Nigerians in their large numbers have underperformed. Just as the country's condition is lamentable because the conditions of the people are lamentable. The situation in Nigeria is abnormal, and at the same time it is undesirable because the people have not been acting normally. The country is confronted by huge problems, but they did not just start because big problems just don't start. I draw below 5 salient points as takeaways and recommendations. Number 1, it is intriguing that Nigerians like to have a big, beautiful, and functioning country. But whether rich, poor, high, low, they hardly understand why and how rules, regulations, and laws are important for the well-being and prosperity of citizens and residents. Order is said to be heaven's first law, while order also has a place, even in anarchy. Big Nigeria therefore requires a system that recognizes the importance of rules, regulations, and laws in every sector of social, economic, and political relationships, starting preferably from the nuclear family and the community settings. 2, policing at every gatekeeping level, family, school, worship center, community, or in other government uniform has been quite ineffective in Nigeria. No country can hardly guarantee compliance or prevent violations and perpetration of crimes when its laws are mostly respected in the breach. Number 3, I remember very well that while growing up, they used to tell me about Olopati Owosho. And you respect Olopati Owosho, how much more the policeman in uniform? That has to be re-engineered. Number 3, directional leadership, the type that takes responsibility for decision making and which does what needs to be done and not necessarily what followers want, has been lacking for a long time in Nigeria. Lee Kuan Yew and Mahathir Mohamad of Singapore and Malaysia, respectively, helped in leapfrogging their countries from third to first world status. These are examples of national leaders who galvanized a critical mass from sub-national governmental levels. The coming together of the critical mass, no matter how little at the beginning, should be sufficient as building blocks. This is unlike in big Nigeria, with the erroneous impression that the magician president has the Midas touch to get all things right by himself or herself. The president, governor, or chairman of local government is part of the problem, and therefore it can only be part of the solution. The whole issue is multidimensional, so there can't be a silver bullet solution. Number 4, institutions are weak in general in Nigeria. Strong institutions can hardly emerge out of the blue. They start by revolving around the personality of a strong individual. The more they are in different aspects of life, the better for the country and its good people. Number 5, political restructuring or recalibration is the platitude which has been around in Nigeria for some time, as a solution to the myriad of problems in the country. It is no doubt a crucial pathway, but it can hardly be a standalone or a silver bullet solution for the problem of Nigeria. Conclusion. The main point that I've tried to make in this presentation about the paradoxicality of Nigeria being big, yet so unproductive, to warrant the question of being big for nothing, is that the country, despite its size as well as human and material endowments, has underperformed. Nigeria, often seen by many of the citizens from the prism of being a colonially contrived alien object, is caused by the citizens both at home and in the diaspora at any given opportunity. The people speak negatively about their country and demarket it, whether as a politician seeking relevance in the United Kingdom or on social media. This is in spite of the country's potential for greatness and the platform for identification it promises its citizens. Incidentally, one can hardly succeed in a country that it does not love. This is probably why foreign nationals who love to come to Nigeria see opportunities and they thrive in the country. In 1997, during an inaugural lecture held in this hall, it was declared that hope had been squandered. Now, 28 years later, we are confronted by a new mantra, renewed hope. My earnest desire is that this renewed vision will not only be affirmed but sustained for the benefit of the greatest number of Nigerians. The declaration of squandered hopes did not suggest that all was lost, but that promise had been momentarily deferred. In this light, I believe firmly that neither leaders nor the ordinary citizens should surrender to hopelessness. Instead, our collective focus must shift towards converting potentials into tangible progress through purposeful productivity and shared responsibility. It is my conviction that a critical mass of committed volunteers, united by a common goal, can ignite the transformation that we desire. The challenge is far too enormous for one individual. It is therefore a clarion call to action for everyone: the president, governors, and local governments, council chairmen, managers and policemen, legislators and the army generals, parents and guardians, litigators and judges, lecturers and vice chancellors. Each must rise to the occasion to preside, govern, manage, police, legislate, nurture, guide, litigate, adjudicate, teach, and of course, champion the cause of morality and ethics, discipline, and the love for country. Nigeria will hail thee. The time for decisive and diligent action is the promise of a Nigeria that is not just big, but one that is big for something, productive. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, acknowledgements. The task of compiling the list of everyone who had played significant roles in one's life can be challenging. Although it is discretionary, paying tributes to or acknowledging every significant contributor is almost impossible and probably not expected. It is therefore with trepidation that I set out on this section of my presentation. I have benefited from the affection, support, and admiration of a lot of people: families, friends, benefactors, schoolmates, colleagues, supervisees, and categories of students, among others. I acknowledge all, just as I would have to note that those who have challenged me at different points in time, for those whose names have been omitted, probably for constraints not unconnected to memory, space, time, and poor judgment, rest assured that you are recognized for abundant blessings from the Almighty, who knows all and every locational addresses. I affirm that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has no partner in His majesty, as He controls the heavens and the earth and everything that exists. He creates from nothing, and to him is the return of every creature. May the mercy of Allah continue to be with the soul of Rasulullah, the best of Allah's creatures. The rest of the acknowledgements has well over 200 names. Obviously, the constraint of time will hinder me from reading all these names. In this light, kindly permit me to categorize as follows. My parents, I can never be thankful enough, and my stepmother. Chivisa Akoni Yagbojagu is not here in person, but there is Baba Bashono Koladaisi in the hall. Thank you so very much for all your love, sir. Baba at 93 struggled to come to this hall. Thank you so very much, sir. My uncle and my guardian, Emeritus Professor Laidi Abbas, and his late wife, Princess Muslima Joladi Abbas. Thank you so much, Daddy. Thank you so very much. In Baptist High Square, the seniority is forever. So I don't want anybody to come and ask me to kneel down outside. I recognize you. I recognize your support. I recognize your, acknowledge your love. Families of Omotosho, for the gift of Rodia Olukemi Yagbojagu, may Allah be pleased with Kemi's soul. Family of Ambassador Hamza Zubeiru, my in-laws, our in-laws in general, finally, for our love and understanding, and for tolerating this boy who has been thoroughly spoiled, and importantly, for restoring smiles and laughter, which altered abruptly in 2020. I thank the children, Sultan, Amani, Khadija, and Baba, Mulka, and their spouses, and the grandchildren for their unconditional love. I thank you all for listening.